all the time what my life is like. It was hell. And I'll tell you what is going on. Imagine different groups. We have the Orthodox, we have different rich, have different organizations that push to protect their own position in a different format. Canada has nothing to do with these people. But somehow, because Hannah was overseas and she's associated with wealth, they became involved with her inside Canada. So think of an arcade game, like when you're playing the ping pong and it just like it zigzags and it just like click click, it goes this way, click click, it goes this way. Think of different agencies maneuvering a woman because they are set up in gay format. So this woman gets pinged around once she reaches a particular age. But in the case of Hannah, she was placed with blacks at the age of 10, which is one of the biggest gifts on the face of this earth. You can't produce like Hannah if she wasn't placed with blacks. She got ping ponged and then she got moved to the Kurds. When she did really well with the Kurds, with ethics and all of that, and that's stemming at a very young age, then she got ping ponged and moved again. It's that constant, like, think of a crazy form of dodgeball where there's 6 or 7 different groups and they're flinging the ball, and the ball is Hannah. Because they need to control each one of these groups, whether it's media, whether it's Lucifer's gypsies, whether it's the armies, whether it's the medicals. They're each ping ponging. Now, each of these groups are okay with it because it's a woman. Hannah was not okay with it. She saw it as primate action or primitive action or primitive management because in the authentic version of the story, the one that was conceived in Ararat had a job, had different jobs in her life, and that was because of circumstance. When she worked at Hydro, she got a call. The parents needed her in Montreal. She rushed to Montreal. And she wanted to kind of bond with her parents because she had lived separate from them pretty much from the age 10 onwards. So when she got the call and she was doing well at Hydro, she went to Hydro. When she had about the age of 20, she worked in management. This is like the big boys, like the Capri, the Allied, the Dundies. When you work for guys like that, there's a high rollover rate and they keep moving you around. It's almost like their entertainment in a weird way. Like you work for AR, you work for AP, you work for on the road, you work for 24-hour shifts, you work for different reasons. When she got to the level of assistant manager, no, when she got to the level of assistant manager to VP, someone blew out her arm. And again, it's being ping ponged. It's being ping ponged because uh, they started at that particular time injuring professionals in Ontario. I really believe that. I saw an architect like in fetal position on the ground. It was really bad. Like I started seeing professionals fall. It's a form of terrorism against our country because our country has very low rates in population. So we have enough sources to last. So when these things started happening, you had to see Hannah's arms. It was casted. And then again, foreign flew from, I think, Delhi or wherever. And they're walking around in the area saying, the arm was fraud. How could it be fraud? The arm, because, Great West Life at that time gave about 20 grand for a tendon injury that lasted 5 years. How could it be fraud if a medical doctor casted it? And we think that medical doctor was murdered. So it's another wow story. When my tooth had spyware in it, that was another wow story. But what do we do with all these wow stories? So Hannah collected it, and, she created the Sun Collection. The Sun Collection was meant to convert the globe, to slow down a little bit and be very controlled in releasing all kinds of topics that just collect dust in the New York State libraries. But instead, Illuminati went on to burn some of the books, no different than how they burnt the Nazi books, how the Nazis burnt books. They decided to burn everything so the world can start again and make up some stuff. I swear to you, it sounds so friggin' insane. But every minute you wake up and now you're in your 50s and you feel 90 because a truck ran over you. An 18-wheeler, and you somehow survived that. It sounds so insane. The arm completely went blue when they blew out my arm as a form of terrorism. I was one of the first groups as they hit the downtown core in Canada. And I knew they hit Canada in 2007. You see, so it goes back and forth, the original story. Now, if we put this on the big screen, and intelligence, I know several of them are mortified, they will understand for the first time in one's life what one person went through as they played as different groups attacked a female that she didn't even know what was going on. First of all, the first attack was because she was so pretty. She would get stuff for free. And God forbid she gets stuff for free and some Jew out there who's extremely rich doesn't benefit. Then she got attacked professionally, and that's when her arm blew out. She got attacked because she was with the blacks and she stood out. And God forbid she stands out without the fags in media not shining. I swear to you, it sounds insane. Then she was with the Kurds. The Kurds can't harm Hannah. They're nothing. Stick her in there. But with the Kurds, she stood out. Because she happened to mate with PKK. And God forbid the Kurds give her attention as a female and not these fags on TV. I swear to you, it was just one of the most lethal stories. And it makes it seem, the dialogues were so raw, it makes it seem like I'm cursing out gay men, but it's nothing to do with that. If you're a gay man and you have a preference for another man, I'm completely okay with it. In the end, you're still my son. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. You are still my child. And then the Aladdin movie comes out. Wolfville happens. Whoa, again. Up and down, up and down, up and down. This is just a narration of a true story. And God help it that this woman, mother now, first mother, she has 4 in total that she knows of. The first mother went to an all-female art school before it closed down by these men who needed the arts for only themselves. They gotta entertain the banana man that climbs up the banana tree. But as a mother, Hannah's okay with that. Why does Hannah have such a problem? You will never believe what's Hannah's beef. Hannah's beef is she has 35,000 pages of content that is legally due to her, that she sat here, sold her home for, worked 15 years for free, And you stole her children's education on the fact that these kids were mixed. The mixed kids scandal. To push squalors in India or China somewhere. No offense, you guys. This is the globe's biggest figure now. Because you're trying to be politically correct. And you are not even a Canadian. You're foreign in our country, acting as a terrorist. But it gets worse than that. The beef is, then you bring all these squalors around you, and you go to Starbucks, you pay $8. They don't put milk, they put water. Because they just want you written off. Because they struggle in their lands. Because their riches pushes labor for free. A form of slavery. And you have to understand what a blessing this story is. Hannah's grandfather is from East India, brought in. And nobody knows the whereabouts of the mother or the father. Hannah's 4 parts are Chinese. Like, you can't, if Hannah dogs China, it's no big deal. She is one of them. She has the right to make that comment. You know, I just spent $8 of my money on Starbucks. You put water instead of milk. What the fuck's wrong with you? This is Canada. Either grow up or get out. One or the two. And they're getting mad. They're getting mad. They're getting pissed that you stole this from an Indian. Dude, are you like a retard? There's 50,000 different Indians. I'm one of those 50,000. But you're a white woman. Yeah, and Russia's laughing at you. Yeah, all of Russia is native. They live on ice sticks, houses built on sticks. You can't get more native than that. Yes, now it's brick instead of like, skin of elk or caribou. Yes, now it's brick, but it's still a form of native. They're laughing at you. They live like third world countries. Except when they go on a robbing mission because they need food supply. God. You know. Yeah, but you're with a black man. That counters our culture. When in Canada, do what the Canadians do. Blend in. If I order $8 Starbucks latte, don't fuck with it. Because you suffer in your country, I'm not obligated to suffer. You are disrespectful, Hannah, for not following the Orthodox. How do you know what's going on? How do you know those are even Orthodox? Hey, homie, nothing personal, but you came in halfway through the story. We gotta know everything. Well, no shit. I clearly figured that out. You have to know everything. Nothing personal, but you're on a need-to-know basis. Not everything pertains to you. Sometimes it's for the betterment of the general populace of the globe. If we listen to you, there'll be a bunch of spoiled Indian men at the top, and the world would be crushed in the name of your own entertainment. And the whole planet would be Indian, and you would crush Negro, white, anything that moves that's not one of your clan, because where you come from, that's what you know. If that's what you know, doesn't make it correct. We are multicultural. The educated, or what the heavens chose, was the same thing you celebrate and you brag about, the Festival of Colors that Prophet Hannah's father taught her. I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool. Festival of Colors. Well, if your Festival of Colors, really be Festival of Colors. Don't try to make the globe Indian. And then you want to make it proper. And you should see. Then the Chinese wanted to make the women all frilly in Canada. It just didn't fly. Hannah's looking at them funny at Starbucks. Caked on face makeup and these frilly dresses with like high heels. It just stood out like a bad sore thumb. I talked about that 2,000 videos ago. It just doesn't match. We're woodland people. We are in rubber boots, long jackets, mosquito things, you know? We're woodland people. But it's not about that. There's another beef. For someone who went and married someone African heritage, and with her past, and with that marriage, and with her biology, and her history, and his biology, and the offspring, that is what God chose for a reason. What is God choosing? God is choosing life over what the devil is doing, making everything one. Everything one is fine if we look at it from the humanal perspective, but everything actually East Indian only is not okay. Everything being Chinese only is not okay. The natural environment produces spores of variety. That's what God chose, a woman like me. Otherwise, how would you know? How would you know all this work that moved the evolution step up by one? How would you know this work? You wouldn't. So then they zoomed around the zone and contracted out the Devil's Army, and the Devil's Army sits there, and I flashed my Turkish flag because of Ararat's importance. Only because of that. And I let them know. And they sit there, I sit on this side. I swear to you, it's like the Karachi border with Pakistan and India. I sit there, they sit here. And all I gotta do is put on like a special little outfit and go do my little dance at the front door and come back every night. Possibly scream "Hi Hitler." Maybe that will make them happy. I'm not too sure. But they sit there, I sit here. So then they get clever. Then they say, okay, we can manipulate the power and the banks and this and that and leave the witch by herself. You know, nothing personal, but I just might be happier. It's just my children I feel bad for. Biological. I'm narrating a true story now. I swear to you, it's friggin', you don't know what to make of it. And then, are you billing me for giving me, because the noble gave me a gift and brought in some African vulture? That's another story. Every single thing, every step was a whoa, Hannah. And she didn't do it on purpose. It's part of a true story. And I swear to you, it is what it is. Today, you know, I have to deal with no commodity, which I'm okay with because I always go for secondhand first. This is the Globe's biggest figure. And I have no problems going for secondhand. It's my religious belief. I have to deal with the power issue. I have to deal with the banks. And I have to deal with $2.49 in my account and how we live off donations. Then I got to deal with the Devil's Army people or the scavengers that follow the Devil's Army. That's famous. They just follow the Devil's Army because they benefit off that. So if I go to Starbucks and ask for a drink, I have to keep an eye on the girl, make sure she gives me milk instead of water. But these are the challenges of what happens when you're worth a lot of money. But in the future, there will be nobody because AI will make sure of that. I am the last official wealthy. Another entry.